Hello. Welcome to today's podcast number 10. Now, last week you didn't get a podcast because I'd edited it and it literally, oh my goodness me, the file got corrupted and I couldn't get the file back. And I'd already deleted the unpolished version. How very clever of me. Anyway, we have 3 articles today. We have a trowel of the week, as we always do. Love the trowels of the week. Oh, they are so funny. This one, you believe in fairies. That's all I can say. We're going to look at mummies. We're going to look at Egyptian mummies. We're going to look at tin. Really old tin. And something Roman. As we do on every podcast, something Roman. I do love my Romans. Before we look at the first article, I hope you had a lovely Christmas because we're a month in now. It's 2020, everyone. I keep signing it as 2019. Every time I have to stick a date on, it's 2019. Never mind. Oh dear. Please go and visit my other things. My Instagram, where I have lovely photos of a snapshot of my life, and Twitter. Right, so the first article is tin found in Israel from 3,000 years ago, and it comes from Cornwall. So Cornish tin mines were there 3,000 years ago. Oh my goodness me, that's amazing. And it's from Cornwall Live. Scientists find that tin found in Israel from 3,000 years ago comes from Cornwall. Well, they had a thriving tin community, tin mines and tin community within the last century and the century before, and possibly all the centuries before that. It doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't surprise me. It provides the complex trade route existed as far back as the Bronze Age. Wow. So that's 1,000 years BC. Tin ingots from more than 3,000 years ago found in Israel are actually from Cornwall, scientists have revealed. The ingots, which date back from around 1,300 BC, before Christ, also found at the archaeological sites in Turkey and Greece. Wow, so Cornwall was a great mining community before all the tourists flocked in, before they had the tourist trade. But researchers from Heidelberg University in Germany reveal that the ancient artefacts did not come from Central Asia, as previously assumed, but from tin deposits in Europe, including sites in Cornwall. So I have visited an old tin mine in I didn't go down into the mine itself, but you can still see the, I can't remember, the lift shafts and the shafts where miners used to go down to the mine themselves. The discovery has proved that the complex and far-reaching trade routes must have existed between Europe and the Eastern Mediterranean as far back as the Bronze Age. Raw materials like tin, as well as amber, glass and copper, were highly appreciated and the driving forces of the early international trade network. Dr. Ernest Nikakar, I love your name, it's so cool, a retired professor from Heidelberg University, said the Bronze Age was used to make weapons, jewellery and all types of daily objects, justifiably bequeathing its name from the entire episodes. The origin of the tin has long been an enigma in archaeological research. I can say archaeological, yay! Tin objects and deposits are rare in Europe and Asia. The Eastern Mediterranean region, where some of the objects we study had practically none of its own deposits, so the raw material in the region must have been imported. They examined the objects by analysing the makeup of lead and tin, as well as small amounts of elements. This allowed them to verify that this tin really did come from tin deposits in Europe, and the tin artefacts from Israel largely matched tin from Cornwall, particularly from the area between Redruth and Heston. Dr. Daniel Berger, oh dear, oh, another nice name, a researcher at the Kurt Horn Centre for the Archaeometry in Germany, who also conducted the study, said the findings were giving rise to new insights for future research. He also said the results specifically identify the origins of tin metal for the first time and therefore give rise to the new insights and questions for the archaeological research. It's published in a study journal as well, this article, which is quite amazing. So yes, I have been to a tin mine, and yeah, it's quite amazing to think that all the way back 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, people were still getting their raw materials from Europe and not kind of producing themselves, basically. Article 2, artefacts found at the housing development. And this is by BBC News. You know I love my Romans. That this is in Wales. I know it's not in London, but it's in Wales. But I love my Romans. There we go. Roman artefacts found at Llewellyn housing development. A team of archaeologists have found Roman artefacts at the site of a housing development. Cotswolds archaeology discovered a Roman settlement of 3 stone buildings, which thought date back to between the 2nd and the 4th centuries. So they were 200 AD and 400 AD. The finds were discovered at Red Row development in Llewellyn, South Wales. The items from the excavation and archive will be given to the local museum. Stone buildings also had a well-made road and complex water system. So they had central heating and water, basically, and probably a well on the site. I can't speculate. One room of a rectangular building contained a very fragmentary mosaic floor. Oh, that's amazing. The excavation team were on site from 17th of September to the 13th of January. The Glamorgan Gwent Archaeological Trust monitored the work on behalf of the local authority. In this case, following the geophysical survey in the trial trenching, the identification of a Roman building was made and the complete excavation is underway. The Trust. The discovery of the building and its associated features, including water management, and greatly adds to our knowledge of the Roman settlement and lands used along the Gwent levels. So there we go. It's just a little settlement of probably like a little village. You must remember, the Romans, or anybody in time, is just like us with the technology and the medical know-how of themselves at that time. That's my reasoning and that's my thinking anyway. I find is amazing. Article 3, and this is something that I have been wowed by. So excited to actually hear an original Egyptian man, an Egyptian mummy. We are on Article 3. I am so happy to do this article. I heard about it probably a week or two before they actually put it in the news on one of the archaeological social medias. Amazing, so amazing. Can you imagine? You can hear someone's voice of the past, and this probably brings me to the knowledge, this is only my opinion, that the man, the mummy who was the man, was very much like us, with all the social structure, the knowledge, the placement of the time. I don't know how to describe it. I just think it's totally amazing. And okay, so we'll go to, and it's from BBC News. Mummy returns. That's a good heading. A voice of a 3,000-year-old Egyptian priest brought to life. Scientists have fulfilled a mummified Egyptian priest's wish for life after death by replicating his voice with artificial vocal cords. Yaman voice has been reproduced as a vowel-like sound that is reminiscent of a sheep's bleat. I don't believe in that. I'll tell you my thoughts later. The priest living during the political volatile reign of Pharaoh Ramesses is between 1099 and 1066 before Christ. As a priest in Thebes, Nesyaman would have needed a strong voice for his ritual duties, which involved a lot of singing. When Nesyaman died, his voice fell silent, but 3,000 years on, a team of researchers have brought it back to life. They have done so by producing a 3D printed voice box based on Nesyaman's vocal tract, which was scanned to establish its precise dimensions. By using the vocal tract with an artificial larynx sound, they synthesized a vowel sound meant to be similar to the voice of Nesyaman. It is believed to be the first project of its kind to successfully recreate the voice of a dead person through the artificial means. In the future, the researchers hope to use computer models to recreate full sentences in Nesyaman's voice. Oh, that would be amazing. The research carried out by academics, the Royal Holloway University of London. Oh, I've been there. University of York and Leeds Museum is published in the Scientific Reports journal on Thursday. The voice recreation technique has given us unique opportunity to hear the sound of someone long dead, said study co-author Joanne Fletcher, a professor of archaeology at the University of York. Okay, so before we get to the end of the thing, I will tell you what I think he sounded like. This is my view, this is my personal view. He probably sounded very much like, from our time, Egyptian and Tunisian stroke Egyptian person, based on the people I've met and the voice that I heard. I think it was couple of seconds that I heard from the video when I watched it. The video of the Egyptian mummy. Now, is it good or is it bad to bring the voices of the long deceased people back to life? It depends. It will probably help and aid us in the future. It will help put the words into say a person from 1,000 years ago wrote a letter and they discovered his body. I'm being all hypothetical. Say that they did that, and they, in the future, maybe they could put his words to his voice after he's been dead 1,000 years. Technology is amazing. That's what I think will happen. Who knows what will be in 100 years' time. This priest guy was probably very high up, and he probably was quite well thought of in his society. We shall go back to the article. Who was Nesyaman? Nesyaman was a priest at the temple of Amun in Karnak, plaques at Thebes, modern-day Luxor. He was a WAAB priest, which meant he had reached a certain level of purification and was therefore, so he was high up in the church and he was permitted to approach a statue of the Amun in the most sacred inner sanctum of the temple. Studies reveal that Nesyaman suffered gum disease, severely deteriorating teeth. He is thought to have died in his 50s, possibly following a severe allergic reaction. As the only mummy to have been dated from the reign of Ramesses, Nesyaman offers us important insights. Scientific analysis of his remains has contributed to the greater understanding of ancient Egypt. Wow, that is amazing. I'm actually blown away by this article. It's totally amazing. On to trial of the week. So, guys and girls, do we believe in fairies? Now, can I just say, I did up until a year ago. There is a place that is in folklore. There's a place that I know of in folklore that has piskies. Yes, it's in Cornwall. It has piskies and fairies. which is another fairy, pixies. They're similar. They're from the same, I think they're from the same family group, I'm not sure. But yes, I was told by a family member, that don't be so stupid, pixies aren't real. Which I replied last year, yes they are. I'm going to go and look for them in this particular place. I went and looked for them. Okay, I didn't find them. They are very rare and very hard to find. So I'm still undecided if pixies exist. I don't know. This has brought me on to this subject, this article, which I find highly amusing because I don't know. I'll let you make the judge of that. So, it's from the Scotsman. Scottish fish farm rejected after campaigners warned fishermen could be lured to their deaths by the fairies. I'm just thinking maybe it's the Scottish people don't want a fish farm where they want to put it. Hang on, we'll just read that. I think it's very funny, the fact that they've used this excuse to try and not have a fish farm. Okay, controversial fish farm plans were rejected after campaigners warned fishermen could be lured to their deaths by fairies in the deepest part of the ocean. Ancient folklore, there we go, was cited as a reason for planners to turn down an application to build a 12-cage salmon farm as a magical site off the coast of the Isle of Skye. Objections to the organic sea harvest salmon farm were also lodged by the Scottish Fishermen Federation in conjunction with other industry lobby groups. Residents raised concerns about the impact on the Skye's tourist industry. That's probably the route, but we'll see. This bizarre objection letter was sent to the Highland Court Council planners by a group called Friends of Eilean Farlogged, I can't pronounce it, something, Fairies, which have signed the missive on behalf of the Lodogary Fairies. Raised concern about the fate of the mystical Ashray, a sea fairy similar to a mermaid, which was claimed to have lived off the coast of Skye for more than 1,000 years. Once a century, the mystical creatures are said to be drawn to the surface by the water to bathe in moonlight. Campaigners claim the sea sprites fear for their lives and that the cage would draw the fairies to the surface of the sea, causing them to melt. Stark warning was issued to the workers' lives could be put at risk by the creatures who could lure them with promises of gold and jewels into the deepest part of the ocean. The letter said, Ashray live for hundreds of years and will only come to the surface of the water once a century to bathe in the moonlight they use to help them grow. It's proven that the steel of the fish farm cages may draw many Ashray to the surface with only one result. The little fairies will melt to death. Oh dear. It's warned that the male fisherman will be in danger as the fairies will attempt to lure him with a promise of gold and jewels to the deepest part of the ocean to drown or simply trick him or her. Well, you've heard what I think. I don't know about this subject. I think it's a good excuse, so make of it what you will. I'm not a professor of sea fairies or stuff like that, so make of it what you will. Yeah, that is the end of the podcast. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and please go and see my other stuff too on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. I shall see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.